Okay, I'm back on the van. Sunday morning, Sunday the 3rd. Well, today I'm going to make the door and drawer fronts. I got that piece up there, which is going to be this right here. Should be able to grain match it. That's just going to be the two pieces. I'm going to cut them. I was going to leave exposed plywood edges, but I think I'm going to edge band it with a piece of mahogany I got over here. Here's the drawer front right here. It's going to be the drawer front there. Alright, then I got the cabinet, two cabinet doors. That's going to be a double opener there, and that's going to be a single opener there where the water tank is. Sink is all hooked up. I think I did that in a previous video. Then of course this one over here is just going to stay utility looking with the cooler, which I took the van out once, and really it kind of works pretty good with the cooler just sitting up over there where that pillow is. If you're cooking and stuff, just leave it out, leave it exposed. Anyway, here's the two drawer and drawer fronts. This is the one underneath the drawer. This is the one for the water cabinet, which is going to be the big one. Actually, this is the double. It's the big one. So I'm going to glue these up. You can see I got my epoxy over here. I got a light bulb on it, warming it up because it's really cold out today. Just a freaking shitty day out here today. Cold, wet, and rainy, and windy the last 3 or 4 days. There's a look outside. Just gray in the great north woods here. Anyway, I'll cut back in a little later. I'm going to glue these up. I don't see any reason to videotape that. You guys know how to glue things, I'm sure. Okay, over and out. Okay, so here's the door and drawer fronts all glued up. There we go. I got some paper under them because the glue's coming out the bottom. I don't want them sticking to the table. I put some clamps on them to hold them straight. That's the hickory. That's the same material that's on the floor in the van. So this is a piece of mahogany, a stick of mahogany, Honduran mahogany I've had laying around here. And this is what I'm going to rip into making my edge banding. So my edge band is just going to be 1/2 by 1/2 square, and I may put a little relief groove in it because this stuff here is actually it's you know, factory hand scraped. So anyway, I'm gonna mill that up right now. That's what I'm gonna make my edge banding out of, and I'll cut back in later. Okay, I've got the boards cut here. So here's my two uppers, and here's my drawer. There too, still gluing. So I don't know if you can see this. Oh, you can see it. So that's the little profile that I put. You can see I did a little sample right here with just a solid block, just to make sure my nails and everything were going to work. I'm going to use some 1-inch brads with a little bit of glue. So that's kind of the edge band look, but it's actually going to have, if you can see this, it's actually going to have that little rabbited groove right there. And I'm not going to miter the corners. I'm just going to butt join them, so you're going to see it coming up, stop, and then run through on the top. That's just the way I'm going to do it. It looks good and it's easy. Okay, so here's the first one. You can kind of see the look here. That's going to be the drawer front and the drawer. So now I have to fill my holes, sand it a little bit, and I will. The mahogany's a pretty good match in color too. Probably going to get a redder as time goes on, but that's okay. It'll kind of accent them. So that's going to be the drawer front. I need to get some mahogany filler, or a little bit of darker filler, and fill all the holes. And I'll sand them, and I'll just hit the mahogany with a little tung oil. I might just tung oil the whole thing a little bit. So that's the look. Well, here's a little tool I haven't had out for many years. I'm going to see if it'll work for cleaning up these edges here real quick. The first thing I'm going to do is set it and make sure that I'm sanding a true 90. Can you see that? There we my 90 right there. Alright. So I use this for nipping these, you know. I think I'm just gonna I don't know where I probably could find the little gauge for this, but I'm not sure where it is right now. I don't want to go looking around. So I'm just gonna kind of guess. So I'm gonna use it just for see there, just truing those up so they're perfect on the edges. The ones on the inside need to be perfect. The outside ones not so much because I can sand those over on the big one when I get everything all puttied and filled. But getting these inside ones are just right. And it's requiring a lot of trips over to the table saw, which I want to avoid. So I'll get a rough cut and I can just nip them right here until they fit perfectly. So that's what I'm doing with that. I'll do one real quick. Yeah, you can see I'm a little over a 1/16 long right there. So I'm just going to start nipping it. You can see that now it's perfectly flush. So here it is. I got it out after many years. Actually, my brother Matt gave me this a long time ago before I even had a shop. It was back when I was working in my little garage. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna do that. Just so you know how I'm doing that to avoid all the trips back and forth. The tables, that chop saw is just too big for making all these little cuts. So I will do the nipping with this. I guess I ought to cut in for a little bit of the finishing of these. This is the back side of these door and drawer fronts. I'm just using a little tongue oil, Daly's Benite tongue oil here. That's the back side. You're never going to see. Front side, and I'm getting a little oil on the finished part, but it'll all just wipe up and become part of the finish. Half-inch overhang all the way around, actually about 9/16. Anyway, I measured half-inch up there, and a half-inch over here. So that should give me just about what I want for my overhangs. And I want this one up first because I want the drawer and the other cabinet to line up with them, and we'll just make up the difference in the middle in the gap. So, not sure how well these screws are going to hold on to my driver tip. For these application, that would be plenty. There's not a lot of spring action on those when you get them hanging on a pretty good sized door. I think it's enough for what I'm doing. I'll fix that in just a second. I'm going to put the rest of my screws in. And close them both together too. So they do touch. With a drawer door front. So this thing here, the way I do these is I will get a couple of spring clamps so I can hold it in place, and I'll take it out and that gets screwed. So I put 4 screws on the outboard edges. Got to remember there's going to be a couple of screws going in through the middle, through the handle, which are going to give it even a little bit more strength. So a shout out to my buddy Brian Ybarra. He's one of the cabinet makers that I work with in the boat shop that I remember specifically him showing me that little technique. Let's see how well I did. So, you know, that looks pretty good. Looks pretty even.